I've had a few people ask me why I built the P-32. And if you're familiar with a car that we built for Ken Reister called the Impression, that car took 6 years to build, and it's probably the car that I would say we took hot rodding and street rodding and custom car building the furthest that we had ever taken it when we finished that car. And after we finished that, you know, it's typical of every show that we go to, people are always saying, what are you going to do next? How are you going to top that car? This pilot had the idea of making his 32 Ford look like a P-40 Warbird. So I took all the themes of a P-40 Warbird. I got seats out of a B-17 bomber, but I used some Lincoln Zephyr parts, the steering wheel, which is actually red acrylic, and the knobs are red acrylic. I used the Zephyr dash, cut that down, shortened it and narrowed it to fit it into the car, but wanted it to look like the zinc oxide primer that's in the aircraft, and leave the outside just raw aluminum, because if it was in the war, it was all about get up there and fight and make something happen. Even the exhaust tips are reminiscent of a P-40 Warbird, but I wanted everything to be aircraft inspired. The windshield, even the nose cone that's out front, I took a 32 Ford grill shell and clay modeled outside of that to resemble the whole aircraft look, the P-40 look, and clay modeled all the way up to the cowl. Once we finished that, we pulled molds from all those parts, and Luke DeLay and his father, Marcel DeLay, they hand-shaped all the aluminum body panels. We put a Lincoln Zephyr V12 flathead in it. The steering, there's no room for a tie rod to go across the front, so with Dave Willey, who was working at the time, we used a 53 Corvette steering box, came back to a drag link. There's actually a tie rod going over to another drag link underneath the floor, and then there's two shafts going out to both wheels. So it's a push and pull steering. And when I looked at cars that were really sitting low, that were built back in the 40s and 50s, even the 60s, everybody built their car low, but they raised the motor and transmission in the car and just built these giant tunnels inside the car. I didn't want to do that, so what I did was I raised the whole floor in the car and narrowed and shortened the firewall to get all those panels up. So the floor is all stock and flat in this car, but we just lifted everything. So you still fit in the car, there's not a big tunnel, and it's very comfortable for your feet to get to all the pedals. I don't know why I did it this way, but when we were designing and building the chassis, I wanted everything to look like it could have been a military part. So nothing on the chassis looks like just a cut bracket that was welded together. Everything looks like it was stamped and riveted to the frame the way that something that was built for the military would have been done. And there's a couple bombs down there, which are actually water tanks. One of the problems I have with this car is it wants to run hot. I put the bombs back on. Eventually I'm going to plumb those so there's water in it, and hopefully that'll help cool the car. But I love this car. It's just all about the roots of hot rodding, back to the basics. After we finished this, then we started getting serious about the fit and finish on all the cars. But this one was all about just having a good time, having fun, and doing something that we can all get a little bit of a chuckle about. We got a call from some people that represented Tom Cruise, and I guess he had seen this car. They asked me if I would have it at his birthday party one year. And so we put together what it would cost to take it up there, have it on display, and then bring it back. And we gave him a number. It wasn't an expensive number. And the people that were representing him said, oh, no, we want you to give him the car for his birthday. And the response that we gave him, obviously it didn't happen, but I said, well, if he wants my P-32, then I want Tom's P-51, so I'll gladly trade you one for the other. And that offer still holds, Tom.